So now this I've just given for a brief idea what is direct refrigerant cooling system. This is one of the concept, but it is not widely used or not at all used in the battery thermal management system because of two three reasons, where like one is like phase change of refrigerant occur in this particular system, and other thing is the boiling point of refrigerant and the coolant. There is a big difference in boiling point of refrigerant and coolant. So as we can see, there is a loop of refrigerant which is going through the same cycle, compressor, condenser, expansion one, and instead of exchanging heat with the coolant, we are directly throwing this thing into battery pack. It's a concept level thing. Generally, in industry, people don't use the direct refrigerant cycle for obvious reasons. So now we will see how a battery thermal management system is designed and simulated. Okay, so there are two ways to design the battery thermal management or simulate it or predict it how it's going to behave. One is like 1D. So in 1D, what generally happen? 1D you can use like various tools available in market like MATLAB Simulink, GTSuite, AVL Cruise, and others also. Many more are there. So generally, if I'll explain with one example here, MATLAB Simulink. So in MATLAB Simulink, you can see first this thing is we model equivalent circuit of a cell. This equivalent circuit and all those matter related to information will learn in the upcoming course of battery thermal management system. So here I'll just explain you brief what is the flow of MATLAB while I am designing a battery thermal management system or a battery pack. So in generally in MATLAB, what we do, we'll start with the equivalent circuit module. So in MATLAB, there are many options. You can have a built-in libraries, or you can make a RC model of it. You can have a thermal modules available where you can design the pipe, reservoir, liquid, and all the things. You can have an electrical module where you can design a resistance, capacitance, sensor, and voltage source, and all that. In addition to that, MATLAB is having option of designing a battery cell directly itself. Okay, so the purpose of doing this in 1D, what we will do by using a equivalent circuit model. See, there are two ways to design a heat generation in a battery pack. One thing is you can model a electrochemistry complete model, and or what you can do is you can have an equivalent circuit model. For prerequisiting for the equivalent circuit model is you need to have a lookup table or a data available with you which shows you the SOC or impedance value or series resistance values. These values with respect to SOCs, with respect to temperature, with respect to C rate. So generally we do experiment we called HPPC. Okay, that is called hybrid pulse power characterization of cell. From that, what we do, we take up all this information which is related to impedance and the resistance, internal resistance of cell at different points, data points like temperature, SOC, HOS, and all, and then we'll feed into MATLAB. Okay, and we'll try to design a battery. Okay, that battery after complete design in MATLAB, what we get is we get a heat loss of a system. Okay, that heat loss we use a different type of pump, we use different type of liquid cooling plate, we vary the H of the liquid plate. So what we do, we have a battery, we have a pump, we have a liquid cooling plate, we have a thermal interface material, we model everything in 1D and we solve it and we'll predict the performance of the battery pack. For example, I'll give you example how we design MATLAB Simulink 1D model. See, I've given with a condition of like my vehicle is running at Nagpur in May, and my driver, my SOC of a battery pack, state of charge of battery pack is 50%. Okay, and my driver is running with the XC rate. So I need to predict what will be the temperature rise in a cell so that I can enable my liquid cooling system or air cooling system or battery thermal management in few minutes. So we'll take all the scenarios, all the inputs, and we'll put in 1D form. We'll design a battery pack. We'll be having an ambient, we'll be having a piping system, we'll be having external resistance system. Okay, and then we give them like after 1 hour of driving, from 45 it can go to 55, for example. So now how we'll run the vehicle in this particular scenario. So this is about 1D. We'll learn this thing in detail in course. Now let's see about 3D. 3D, many software, CFD software are being used for designing the battery pack thermal management. Okay, so one is Star CCM, Ansys Fluent, CalmSol, Fire, and the thing Converge, and all those other things are there. You can design a battery pack system. So in 3D, what is the workflow is, if I don't go in the detail of meshing and all other things, what is the work flow is here, we'll get the input of heat generation from either equivalent circuit module or from a electrochemistry module or from a experiment. We'll try to put that heat generation into the cells. Okay, and then after 1 hour or after half an hour or 10 minutes, what is the effect of that heat generation in a battery pack, we'll try to simulate that. So here you can see that there are many cells, cylindrical cells with arranged in a stack. Okay, and there is a liquid cooling plate. This is blue color thing is nothing but a liquid cooling plate which is passing from the side of the cell and try to cool the cells. So we model this thing by using 3D CFD model. In 3D CFD models, what we do is like we do the pressure drop study to design a pump for battery thermal management system. We do the thermal study to understand the thermal wear of battery pack. We do the flow analysis inside the liquid cooling plate so that we'll understand what is there any air bubble formation or how much time it is taking to fill the liquid cooling plates. We design complete liquid cooling plates by using optimization of CFD tools. So this overall thing we will learn in the course, each and every point of it, how it can be done and what is the theory behind it and what is happening in practical situation and all those things. So after this, let's see how it looks in the real battery pack. So this is the Audi e-tron battery thermal management system. So this is a liquid cool battery pack. Okay, so here you can see this white color boxes are there. Those are nothing but the module of a battery. So generally a battery pack consists of module consists of cells. So here they have put some combination of series and parallel cell, a box. Okay, and they called it as module, and they are cooling that module by using liquid cooling plates. So this module will be arranged on these liquid cooling plates. This horizontal stripe you can see now, these are nothing but the liquid cooling plates. Okay, so you, as we have discussed in first slide only, that battery thermal management system consists of heating, cooling, insulation and ventilation. So this tray and this part of lower protection is nothing but the insulation of battery pack, where we are avoiding the outside heat or outside temperature to come in. Okay, so now you can see a mechanical structure which is saving the battery pack into by from a crash or from an impact or something like that. You can see the tray which is having a lower protection. So this, and you can have a frame where you can mount the battery module and everything. So I'll show you a small video here. Here what we have spoken about when we were talking about active liquid cooling system. You can see here is chiller, here is compressor, and this thermal management means they are talking of liquid cooling plates. So there will be a coolant circuit inside this liquid cooling plates, and then outside circuit of refrigerant which is flowing through chiller, compressor and evaporator. Low temperature cooler means nothing but here those things, evaporators and condenser, and then it will go through this liquid cooling plates and it will try to heat or cool our battery pack. Here you can see from chiller, blue color is nothing but the cold liquid and red color is nothing but the hot liquids. So on these plates, there will be module arranged. Then heat will be taken from the module and it will go back to the refrigerant cooling system, and then it will cool it back. And then how this is how a battery thermal management works. So now one of the example, previously we have seen one example of pouch cell module with Auditron. Now you can see a Tesla Model 3 model, which is having a cylindrical cell. But if you see here, the liquid cooling plate is completely different. There it was like straight stripe of it passing, like the cells are sitting on them. Now here are the serpentine liquid cooling plates which are passing through the cell rows. Okay, so we'll see the actual look of it, how it looks actually. So I'll just play this video. So you can see here, see these are nothing but the liquid cooling plate for cylindrical cell. This is the Tesla. This white color thing is we call thermal interface material. This is for proper contact of cell with liquid cooling plate. So you can see here, this is nothing but passing through complete pack. So all these things are designed by using 1D or 2D and then validated through experimentation. And you can see here, showing this example is nothing but the concept of battery thermal management is same, but as soon as my shape, size and chemistry or physical property of cell or battery pack is changing, my strategy is changing. But the core interest is to cool battery or heat the battery. So this is what it's all about. So now see how field is evolving here. So now this is, I'll try to explain you guys like what is energy density. See, volumetric energy density is nothing but, like if I am having a truck battery, you know, truck battery, it's big, it's like a size of a, and that battery will give me, it's about, for example, I would say it's about size of table, and what it will do, it will give me 2 kilowatt of energy. Okay, so the maximum amount of energy available per unit volume is nothing but the volumetric energy density. In other case, if I am having a truck battery and it weighs 25 kg, okay, and it give me 2 kilowatt of battery, so I would say the maximum amount of energy available for battery is 2 kilo for 25 kg. So that is my gravimetric energy density. So what is happening with volumetric energy density is currently, previously we used to have a big size battery, but they used to provide us less power. Like a suitcase size of battery will provide us 2 kg. But as soon as we are moving towards future, so if I'll say y-axis, if I'll move up in y-axis, what is happening? The size of battery will get smaller, but my energy will be same or it will be increased. Like previously a suitcase size of battery was giving me 2 kilowatt of energy. In future a wallet or a pocket mobile size battery will give me 2 kilowatt of energy. But in the x-axis, like previously like 100 kg of battery was giving me 2 kilowatt of energy. Now like few grams of battery, like 100 grams of battery will give me 2 kilowatt of battery. I'm just exaggerating the figures, but to understand the things. So now if you see, we have started with the lead acid in this figure, and so lead acid battery is nothing but the bigger and heavier, but it will provide you less energy. So as soon as this graph, in this graph, you will see nickel cadmium and then nickel zinc, then nickel manganese, and then right now we are in lithium ion. In lithium ion also variety of electrochemistry is happening, which is LTO, LFP and NMC. So currently people are using all type of electrochemistry. So what is happening with this evolution of a field? The size of battery getting smaller, but energy will be more. So to manage that particular energy, if you see in future, the more will be the energy, more will be the heat generation, and more will be the complication of the battery thermal management system. So as soon as field will get evolved, the battery thermal management will be the most critical part of it. Okay, because safety is the major reason, as we have seen in first slides, catching fire and battery pack is getting blasted. For that, we need a battery thermal management system. Okay, so battery thermal management system we have seen like in presentation why it is happening, how it is happening, and what is actually, and what are the example of it, how technology is changing, how strategies are changing. We have learned this thing in brief. We'll learn in this thing in detail in future. So now we'll see what should be your career path for a job opportunity in battery thermal management system or an EV. Okay, so if you are student, if you are thinking that I am student final year or third year of engineering or first year of MTech, so what you should do, you start building the mini projects. In the projects, you contact some professor and you ask them, we want to build a project related to battery thermal management system. You design a small battery by using 5 6 cells and try to give different type of C rate and then see how it's behaving thermally and all those things. For example, in recent past, you learn this thing from news and all. IIT KGP students, they have built the EV and in by mentorship under their professor and all. So that is like impactful. It will give you hands-on experience for working in it. You can go for internship or RA or TA and the fellowship under professor who are working in the battery field or battery thermal management field, India, abroad, whatever you can apply. Internship is the one of the best way to get into the field because you get close to the people who are working on the live project. You will learn many practical and technical problems which is currently available in the market or industry. Okay, so this should be your career path for student. If I'm a professional, see, professional, you people are valuable, so you people have learned about industry while doing some kind of work which is not available in book. You have a experimental learning, or you have a critical situation when you have learned which is not available in book. You got these skills already. Few of them might know the softwares like Star System, MATLAB, ANSYS, and all those things. So the only thing you need to do, guys, is brush up the basic concept. Okay, so for brushing up this basic concept, you have this wonderful amazing online courses from NPTEL or SkillLink or any other website you would like. From there you just brush up the heat transfer or battery subjects or electrochemistry subject, and anyway you are getting hands-on experience on the project you are doing in your automotive industry or whatever industry. You know the in and out cycle of it, so you need to have brush up the basics. And these four things, you all of you, either student or professional, whoever you are, you have to learn about the concept. You have to learn about what is happening in EV, what are the softwares they are using for designing a particular system, and the most important thing, you have to make contacts. It can be through LinkedIn or you have personal contact or whatever. You have to show them or show your interest through LinkedIn that I am interested in this. I have done this battery thermal management webinar. I have learned that I am doing this, and you learn this through some online courses or live training sessions and everything. So today is all about, I have given you brief introduction of battery thermal management system, how it works and all. So this is it from my time, and thank you very much.